Hi, this is Myra with Boutique Paint. Today we're going to be using the new IOD Bibelot mold, and we're going to be making some ornaments. And normally I wouldn't show you the process of using the casting resin just because I have all kinds of videos on using the casting resin. I'm going to go ahead and pour. And two things. One is I want to over pour on this, and if you're going to glue these onto something, you don't want to over pour because then you've got a dome. But on these, I do want to over pour. I do want the dome. So I'm gonna just over pour. And when I mean over pour, I don't mean so it's pouring over the sides. I just mean that it makes a nice dome. Now, if you have bubbles like this, you can get one of these, which is just a little torch, and they can be refillable, which is really nice. And you just want to run it along top, and it will pop. It'll pop the bubbles. So next, what I want to do, and you can do this step or not, but I tied a piece of silver string and I did a knot because I feel like I have more control then when I put it in here. And then I'm going to take my little stick and I'm just going to kind of push it in there because I kind of want to sink it a little bit. So I pulled this out and I just want to show you it's still curing, but you can see that it's rounded on the back, and that's what you're trying to go for, is something that's a little bit domed and rounded. When you under pour, it will have an edge here. So I think for if you're not going to do the double up, like if you're not going to glue two of these together to make the ornament, this is a good way to go. And if you're noticing that there's yellow in my resin, this is an old bottle of resin and it will do that. It will, the part B will turn darker and it will kind of get crystals in it. You can see it at the bottom here. It's still usable. It will stain your piece, but that's okay because we're painting, so we don't care this time around. I'm going to do a red one, and I am using Marquee paint for this one. And this particular mold has some texture to it. So if you haven't yet played with it, you'll find that it's got some imperfections in it. It is done on purpose. I know some people were like, what's going on? My mold's defective. No, that was a design choice. So I'm going to start out by stamping in gold. I'm going to scoot these aside for a quick second. And I'm going to use my Kindest Regards stamp. And you can tell that this is a very loved stamp, or abused stamp probably is a better way to put it. I have not cleaned this in forever. I can attempt to clean and get some of the black off. It needs to go into the house and just have a really good scrubbing. But as you can tell, my #1 used stamp. It's a staple. So I'm going to use, this is Color Box Gold. I'm just gonna stamp a small area here. And because this is kind of a, I don't know exactly what it's made, but it feels like it's got oil as opposed to water base. We will need to really let this dry before we do the next step with this. So because this is rounded, just hold it at the top and just kind of go along the edges and push. There we go. That turned out pretty nice. Okay, so also I want to add some gold up here, and you can see I got some of the gold writing up there. That's okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stamp pad and I'm just basically rolling it over the top, the high spots of the top of the ornament, like that. Now, obviously, you could use paint for this whole part of it also. I like using the stamp pad because it's pretty quick and easy. I clean my stamp a little bit. I'm just using a baby wipe to get the gold off. I should do a before and after of cleaning this so you can actually see that it does clean up nicely when I do it. So same thing, I'm going to be using silver stamp pad. On this green. The other thing you could do, if you could do this carefully, is just set your ornament down and rock it back or side to side, and then kind of roll it forward and then kind of roll it back, so that you're kind of getting, but you're trying to keep it all in one place. See how we did? Not too bad. Could use a little bit more up there. So I think I will flip it and just gonna fake it. I'm gonna move that so I don't screw it up. Since I don't know exactly, I'm just gonna do that. There we go. So on the red one, I think I'm going to go back to gold. I kind of like the contrast that I'm seeing between the gold and the colors. Might be time to get a new gold stamp pad. This is looking a little sad. It's not as put in as much ink as the gold. I mean, this is the silver. This is the new IOD classic Christmas stamp that I'm using. I'm just using the little holly scroll here. So pretty. All right, we're just gonna center it. Ooh, and it's moving. So I use the hairdryer. Our stamping is nice and dry. So I cut some pieces out from the Yuletide transfer. And yes, I separated those cute little birds. They were smooching. I'm just going to center that. And get our little stick and start a rubbing. And you can tell that a lot of the background that I just stamped isn't going to show. It's just there for a little extra, a little peekaboo. You could also just leave the stamp, or just stamp it with the gold or the silver and leave it like that. I felt like these transfers are so adorable, and I wanted to use some of them. So what I was afraid of happened, and that was my gold was not dry. And so what it did is it transferred, and also the red transferred up to the transfer and didn't transfer. So what I ended up doing is I sprayed them with a matte spray. And I'm going to give this a try again and see if we can't get this little guy to work. There we go. Now I have a little bit of extra sticking out, so I'm just gonna push that down, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just use my fingernail and remove the extra. And then we'll take the paper and just give it a quick rub. All right, that looks pretty good. And then this one, we're gonna do this. Very nice. So this is when I like to have a little bit of extra paper because I'm going to put some glitter. And that way you can salvage whatever's left and not just throw it away. So this one I'm going to do in gold, and I want to just show you the differences in gold. There's a big difference. This is the glass glitter, and this is just a glitter. This is kind of old-fashioned looking, but this gold seems to match my gold that I used here. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I have a little bit of glue here. It's just white glue, tacky glue. And so I'm just going to take a paintbrush and go along the edge. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but you got to get a fair amount on there so that it can stick. And just go all the way around. My glue's a little bit on the sticky side. And if you feel like you got a little too much, just take your finger and swipe it and get it off there. Or you can take a Q-tip. You could also do the top with some of the glitter. All right, so I'm just going to take this and then sprinkle it a fair amount. I'm going to be very generous. And that's why we have the paper under there, so we won't be wasting. And then with the non-glued fingers, you can just kind of push it up against it. Just tap it a little bit, and there you go. That just adds a little bit. And see, it's irregular, but that's kind of fun. It just kind of adds to the whole kind of vintagey look. So I'll set that one aside. We're gonna, as you noticed, I have a fold in this paper already. Did that on purpose. So I can just put my glitter right back into the container. I want to do silver on this one. Same thing. This is easy because we've got the string on that one. So if you want to put just a hook through it, or not put string, or you can glue ribbon or string to the back, you could get these hooks, and they're kind of tight, so I'm just gonna, I just kind of undid it a little bit, but they're pretty. And that's what those look like. Nice and simple. I think that I might want to add a bow to this green one. And I've got one here that I made up already. So I'm going to go ahead and cover that. Now you're saying, well, you're covering up the silver that you did. That's okay. You know, you're just kind of, it's a process and you're trying to figure out what you want it to look like. So just play around with it. And let's see, on this blue one, I think I want to do the hook. So this blue one, I'm going to go ahead and, what I did is I went ahead and just drilled a hole. So I went to the back, found a center. And you don't have to drill the hole that big. That's just what I happen to have in my drill. So I can either put this ribbon here, this little bow, or I could do the red one. The red's a little off, but that's okay. Not sure which one I like better. Kind of liking the red. I thought I'd like the green, but we're going to go with the red. So I'm just going to do it just because this is bigger. I'm just going to do it just below that. And the blue one I think I'm just going to leave the way it is. You gotta love those glue strings. You gotta. And there we go. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, you can go to our website at www.boutiquepaint.com. Bye.